HTJ.tax, the international tax firm for 6, 7, and 8-figure investors and entrepreneurs who are living that international life. Are you ready?
Where should I set up an offshore company? We get this all the time, like every week we get that question asked. And I think, I was talking to another tax advisor. I think it was a couple of weeks ago when we were doing a live stream on Australia, US taxes. And we just chit chat with my Australian counterpart. And we're thinking, what is it? Is it the movies? We think it's like the media that gives this impression that, hey, if I get an offshore company, I'm going to be able to save so much money and whatever. And no, that's not the way it works. Maybe historically, up until maybe the early 80s, that was potentially an option. There was decided tax advantages, and then there was super privacy. But now, in the age of transparency and the modern tax rules that we have and the modern banking rules that we have, many of those so-called advantages are gone. So as to where you should set up an offshore company, it really depends. It really depends. If it is that you're trying to hide, then you can try. I'm sure, unfortunately, there are less reputable, unlicensed professionals who tend to not be in any regulated jurisdiction. So they won't be in Western Europe, they'll be in Eastern Europe. They won't be in Singapore, they'll be somewhere unregulated nearby. They won't be in North America, they'll be in Central and South America. So they don't have to worry about regulation, and they play fast and furious with the rules. And that's a choice you can make. But we believe that that's not long-term thinking. What you need to do is we need to understand what is your overall strategy, what is your business model, what type of investments you have, and whatever. So if it is an opportunity for asset protection, I think, asset protection, and it maybe sometimes offshore structures would work in that situation, or maybe for better compliance and maybe for some tax optimization. So there may be cases where, first and foremost, a structure must have commercial benefit, because most advanced economies have anti-avoidance rules. So if you set up a structure just for the purpose of evading tax or avoiding tax, or perhaps under some circumstances reducing tax, more times than not, anti-avoidance rules kick in and the structure can be challenged. So there must be an overriding commercial benefit to a structure that may or may not involve an offshore company. And then if secondary to that, there is a tax benefit, then tax optimization can be thrown in there. But if it is you go into a situation saying, hey, how can I, minimize my tax without being conscious of the commercial benefits and the anti-avoidance rules and the management and control rules, then you're probably going to get in trouble in the long term. Right after that advisor takes your money and does whatever it is you think you want done, and they disappear into the sunset and stop answering your calls and your emails, that's when the tax offices start knocking on your door. So just by having a company in another jurisdiction doesn't necessarily mean that the substance of the overall transaction changes, because you may still, especially if you're the key decision maker, you're running that company from wherever it is you're located. So even though it's incorporated elsewhere, there's something called place of effective management, or management and control rules, or permanent establishment rules, or nexus rules. There are lots of terms used to describe the same thing, that you create a taxable presence by where you are as a key decision maker, where your key decision makers in your team may be. So I would say the question, where should I set up an offshore company, may not be the best one, but it should be, here's my business model. How can I optimize my business model for commercial reasons, asset protection reasons? I may have some IP that I want to protect, to provide better customer service, or to be more tax efficient, and better able to comply with certain local rules and jurisdictions in which you play. So that's my thinking.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.